Well, Brett, Origin time again. How excited are you to see the Blues run out here at ANZ Stadium on Wednesday night?
Yeah, pretty excited. I think the performance they did in Game 1 was the best I've seen for a long time. Obviously, if you're not a New South Wales fan and can't be passionate about Wednesday night and make this stadium hum with some atmosphere, I don't think you'll ever get a full stadium in Sydney. So, pretty excited and, obviously probably a bit more worried too about the side that Queensland have picked.
And you said, it's the best side that you've seen. Why? What is it about this side that you think is so great?
I thought Game 1, obviously no Thurston for the side, I suppose gave them an air of confidence that they could win. The athleticism the forwards played, the physicality they played, and obviously the excitement of actually having some outside backs to get some football. And I think, the likes of Tedesco, you watch him in club football, he can do some pretty special things. So I think it's the individuals that are in the side are great individuals, some pretty special athletes. Mix that through with the fact that they played so well in Game 1. Maybe we haven't had too many wins for a long while that you get a bit excited about how great they played, and obviously that maybe changing in the guard is coming.
Yeah, that changing of the guard, I mean, is this the sort of side that can do that can then turn themselves into the, Queensland-style juggernaut that we've seen over the years?
Oh, you'd like to think that you could just be more consistent. We haven't been beaten too often by 3-0 in obviously the great run that the Queensland have been on, but a few wins would be nice. Obviously it's been, 2014 was a wonderful series for the Blues, but it's been a fair while between then and a long while before that, before they got a series win. So I think, obviously some of the Queensland great players are getting a little bit older, and, we obviously know that it's Thurston's last season and possibly could be Cronk's last season, obviously, for Queensland as well. So there'll be a little bit changing of the guard. They won't have those unbelievable superstars that they do have at the moment. So I think New South Wales are in a great position that you've got some younger players coming through. Obviously Bird, Tedesco, those players that are pretty special individuals. And the forward pack are young, athletic. And I think on the fact of what Laurie done in Game 1 was blooded a few new players, made them fearful for their positions. If you don't play great in Game 1, there would be changes for Game 2, and I think just having Sterlo around the camp, it's a nice thing to have. So we seem to be getting all the right things off the field in place. You'd like to think that leads to success on the field, and a great crop of players coming through for New South Wales.
Do you see any similarities in some of the players now in the side to, back in the days of Origin when you were playing?
I think it's the greatest event there is. They unfortunately don't like the saying that, but I think Origin is the greatest pinnacle in the challenge for a player. We saw how fast the first 40 minutes was in Origin 1. Test match football is still the pinnacle that you want to play football for your country, but I don't think the games are as physical or as loud or as intense as what Origin football is all about. So, one mistake for the first 40 minutes the other night. It was end-to-end. It was a wonderful game of football, and I think you'll see that again in Game 2. The quality of the players, the fact they're in camp for 10 days, the preparation, and I suppose the similarities between whenever Origin started a long time ago to now is that no one wants to let their state down, and they play with some enormous passion and pride, and I think that's why the game is so close.
It has been a Sydney-based camp this time. They're usually either in Kingscliff or they've been in Coffs Harbour previously for those 10 days. But do you think this sort of preparation is going to be a little bit different for them, or what do they need to be concerned about going into Game 2, making sure that they're really, really prepared?
Yeah, I think staying at the Star, I like the idea. I think it's nice to have a home base for the Blues. Once they build the training facility and the home base out here for the Blues, that'll be probably taken over. But I think they should be spotted in Sydney. The game is played in Sydney for Game 2. They've done the great promotional tour, Game 1, going up to Tweed Heads and doing things. So I think to grow the game, the public need to see the people throughout the week. And I certainly think being based in Sydney, which is the heartland of the game this week, obviously Origin here at Homebush. So I think it's important that they get out and they be spotted and they get a good preparation. I think they're aware of how great the Queensland side is now. Obviously, Billy coming back in the side and JT makes them a pretty attacking weapon now. Obviously, some younger forwards that seem to be going very well. So I think the balance of the sides is a lot closer. I don't know if New South Wales need to play any better than what they did in Game 1. We know Queensland will play a bit better in Game 2 because of the personnel they've picked. It's probably not going to be the dry track we get at Suncorp here. It's generally a little bit slower, a little bit slippery here at ANZ on a night game. So I think it's certainly important that you get those tackle 5 plays correct. You get the small the small moments, Gus talks about those origin moments. You've got to get them right in game 2 because of the closeness of the competition, and unfortunately that's probably why they've won the games they have over the last 11 series. That they've made the better decisions or the more important decisions at the clinical time that they've nailed them. So it's a little bit of pressure, to be honest. I don't really want to go to Suncorp for game 3. I think that's the scary fact that the guy called Jonathan Thurston that has his farewell party up there is probably and also another guy that will give Queensland great confidence here in game 2, and he could be the deciding factor that his motivation and ability to play great in big games. Let's hope he doesn't do it on Wednesday night.
Yeah, you mentioned him and Billy, them being back. It's great for Queensland. But what do you think of Kevin's choices to axe 7 guys, and particularly Sam Thaiday? He's been there and he's really pivotal in those Origin games. He's really strong usually. Yeah,
he is. Well, he played great last year for him. And unfortunately time does come. They've been wonderful. A lot of those players have done a great job for Queensland and for the Broncos, but. Unfortunately, there is a time where you have to be moved on. It's probably disappointing they were able to start the series in game 1 and then get moved on. But I think the time was right for Kev to make those tough decisions. Valentine Holmes is a wonderful winger, or playing fullback at the moment, but he was. Played for Australia last year and did a wonderful job. So he brings the ball back at tremendous pace and certainly very hard to contain. You obviously Billy and Thurston sort of pick themselves. If they're fit, you got to play them. And I think guys like Wallace and Hess and those guys, they certainly come into the side with not the changing for them, but at least they get to do an apprenticeship with the great players in the side. So at some stage, all these good legends that Queensland have got will move on, and the next stage will have to be transition and linked in. So disappointing for guys like Miles and Thaiday, who have been wonderful players for Queensland, but unfortunately the mother time gets everyone.
And on changes, Boyd Cordner, the new captain, I mean, how special was that for him, first of all, to win game 1 and to potentially be able to do that in game 2 and take the series as a new captain? I mean, that's pretty special. Yeah,
it is. I think Boyd's been a pretty special player. He's been captain and waiting, I suppose, for a fair while. He was always that player they spoke about. It was always suited for Origin, the style of football that he plays. Not obviously known for his leadership and how he talks or all those other things, but actions can speak 1,000 words. And he was so great for us in game 1, especially when we needed a big run or someone to come up with something pretty passionate or just the right thing at the right time. So I think Boyd certainly loves the fact he's captain of New South Wales. It's a great honour. He spoke about how privileged it is to be the captain of this state, and obviously to be leading 1-0 in his first series. It's probably sits pretty comfortable at the moment. But yeah. There's certainly no guarantee that we're going to hold the trophy up this season, but if they can give a best performance here on Wednesday night, it'll go a fair way to hopefully holding that trophy up at some stage.
Just lastly, who do you think's really going to star on Wednesday night, and what's your final tip for the match?
Oh, I think New South Wales win. I think they've certainly got to get the job done here. I'd like to think that this stadium's full of all Blues fans, and it's pretty passionate and a pretty hostile environment for the Queenslanders to arrive in. I think it'll be not a low-scoring affair, but it's certainly a much closer affair than what Game 1 was. I think the star of the day will probably be a Wade Graham or a James Maloney. I think the two guys from the Sharks. I just think that, Fafita will be much more contained now than what he was in Game 1, so, it'll be pretty hard for him to have a big performance. But, I think Wade Graham can come off the bench and make a wonderful impact. He helped with the inside pass to score a try in Game 1. And I think James Maloney, it could be the kicking game and also goal kicking that could be pretty important on Wednesday night. So let's put him down as our star.